Important answers for your important questions. Yes, that is the original Wii over there. No. This is not what you guys all keep calling it. It is a plastic science flask from a children's scientific set. Alright? Listen up, Mad Tea Party. I know that the majority of my viewers are more interested in my serious videos. The analytics tells me so don't try to hide it. YouTube is telling on you. But those of you who saw my original 47 meters down review know that I have a job to do, and they made a second one, so let's complain about it on the internet. So the movie takes place in Mexico, which I think the first one did as well. Moral of the story? Mexican sharks are murderous killing machines. Don't go there. We find our main character is a hot chick who's being bullied by other hot chicks at a school for rich hot chicks. Because if you want to get eaten by sharks, you gotta be a rich kid.
Don't touch me.
She's so quirky and misunderstood. So this freak of nature is here because her dad is an archaeologist, and he's like exploring some underwater ruins, and while there he happens upon a great white shark tooth, which he gifts to her, and says that it's from a shark that's been trapped in the ruins, probably for a really long time. Well, that sounds like a pretty safe place to be roaming around then, don't you think? Now Dad set up our quiet, outcast protagonist and her sister with a fun, adventurous, shark-watching boat tour. They get to hang out in a boat with like a glass bottom and some walls and watch some sharks. Now doesn't that sound safe and fun? So of course, they don't do it, and they go off on their own to do something way more dangerous, like cave diving. Now, I would have loved to see how they were gonna turn a safe, harmless tourist attraction into a dangerous movie plot. Maybe the boat flips upside down, all Poseidon Adventure-like. But no, that was all filler. The real plot starts here. The two sisters and two of their friends diverge from the path and want to go cave diving, a very dangerous sport that requires a lot of experience and certifications to do. My Ben McDonald video, I think, explains pretty well this very point. Well, at least I'm assuming they fixed the absurd communication issue they had in the first one. Oh, goddammit.
Everyone okay?
They didn't change the masks from the first movie. In both of these movies, people underwater are easily able to communicate with each other with no wires or radios, and their ears are exposed to the water. Now, I don't know about you, but when my ears are open to the water, I can't hear anything, let alone clear communication. There's no wires or earbuds to suggest that they can even communicate with each other. Why didn't you guys fix this? Get a mask that covers their ears, or at least put some fake wires on their ears to suggest there's a radio there. So the group dives down into the ruins that our archaeologist dad was working on. The one that's supposed to be shark-infested. Do you think we'll see any? While down there, they find this blind cave fish, and explain that the fish has evolved to not be able to see because it doesn't need to. Now that's a fascinating piece of information, but aren't fish like that usually miles and miles under the water's surface, where there's no light? Didn't you guys just swim on in here from an opening not too far under the surface? Like, has this fish been down here this whole time? Couldn't it just swim out? Now, normally I wouldn't make a big deal out of this, but they also use this same explanation to tell us why the shark is also blind. This thing has been in here so long, it's evolved. Now, I don't know enough about fish life to complain too much about this. It just feels like a stretch to me. Now, after we're jump-scared into the introduction of the shark, we're then jump-scared into the first death of the movie, which I'm pretty sure they just copy and pasted from the first movie.
You're not gonna tell them, are you?
Are you kidding?
This guy shows up, having come from a different entrance, and while mid-conversation gets sideswiped by a shark, and I think that's supposed to be shocking, but I found both of these deaths pretty funny looking. So Spooky Blind Shark starts chasing our girls back towards the entrance, where whoops, its goofball of a big body causes a collapse and the entrance is sealed. Typical Tuesday, am I right? So I'm gonna go ahead and mention that it took me almost the whole movie to learn these girls' names. So for the sake of confusion, we're gonna call them Kirsten, and Kirkland. So the girls discover that shark food over here had a line leading back to whatever entrance he had come from, and they start to follow it until they're good and lost in the ruins, before discovering that the line was severed. I'm guessing by a clever shark. It's also crucial at this point in the movie that their air is rapidly running out because they've been down there for a whole 30 minutes. Time's against us now, so we have to move. The girls start heading towards any direction, and they discover the shark just roaming around, minding its own business, probably looking for dinner, making this noise. What is this noise? Is that a shark noise? That shark sounds like a boat. So after the inconveniently loud running out of air meter starts squealing, the shark chases the girls back away from the second entrance into the ruins again, where they find an air pocket, one that they can hang out in for just a few minutes. While in there, they start to hear a music. Underwater music. And yes, there's an archaeologist, I think, working on something in the ruins while listening to a speaker that's like underwater with him, and hears that music clear as day. Because I guess they just knew that pissed me off, and they just wanted to keep on going ham with the impossible underwater hearing physics. Anyway, suddenly the music cuts off and it causes him to go investigate, and I kid you not, the song "We've Only Just Begun" starts to play mysteriously in the distance. And this is never explained. Did the shark choose this song? Where's the speaker that it's coming from? I think they just wanted a creepy scene of this guy roaming around in the dark, spooky ruins with "We've Only Just Begun" playing in the background. It looks real good, but I'm sorry, this makes no sense. He gets eaten, and we're never given any explanation as to what this whole scene was. Our main girl follows the sound of the music into the darkness where she finds our half-nibbled friend who just died.
Guys, I'm lost. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
No, they never could. Anyway, she's jump-scared by her dad. I guess everybody in here is on the same imaginary radio, so he can also talk to her. They meet up with the rest of the girls where they're chased through the ruins by the boat shark until they find like an outdoor hole in the ground. It's the entrance the dad came through, so there's like a rappelling rope that they can attach to and it'll hoist them to safety.
That's it, yeah!
Natural.
Yeah, okay.
Go a little faster. Okay.
Yeah, there's still a shark down here, so take your time. Everyone for themselves! That's pretty messed up, Kristen. I hope you get eaten now. Come on, fall. Yes! That's what I like to call karma. You hear that, everybody who's ever stepped on somebody else for their own gain? You're gonna get eaten by sharks. Then they have the gall to pull a deep blue sea, and the dad gets eaten by a shark mid-motivational speech.
Okay, girls, I believe in you.
So the remaining 3 girls are starting to look like 3 pieces of chicken in a soup to these sharks, so they gotta get out of there. They sink just below the surface of the water, where it's suddenly pitch black everywhere, just so we could recreate the flare scene from the first movie. Then one of the girls goes current, and they're suddenly sucked back down into the ruins. Current? What current? They were just sitting in like a still pool of water in the middle of the forest. Where did this mysterious current come from?
I won't leave you. Grab my hand. Let's go.
Okay, so now they're in a room of this swirling vortex of a current that's trying to yank them down to the bottom. And we lose Kirkland's sister, who I named, Kristen. Now, at this point in the movie, I stopped and I looked up cave currents to see if that was a real thing. And no, it's not. If there's a current, it's usually going somewhere. It's not just this spiraling, weird mess in a cave. They do exist, just not like this. Anyway, the 2 remaining ones start moving around the cave just way too slowly for way too long before the shark shows up because it really likes to mess with these girls. And it grabs Kristen's tank and pulls it right off, so she has to swim towards the surface, but because she's screaming the whole time, she drowns. Maybe just a thought. If you have 1 breath left to live, stop screaming. Speaking of air, weren't all these girls running out of air like half a movie ago? Kirkland is dragged down by the vortex current, where she finds her sister just sitting at the bottom. She's still fine, okay. They both start moving through a very cramped opening while Mr. Sharky McBoat Sounds chomps away at their tootsies, where they just barely make it back outside. Free at last, free at last. I really wish they had done the same thing they did in the first movie with the whole gotcha situation of this just being a hallucination, but no. We're not done yet though, because the girls suddenly realize they're surrounded by a bunch of chum, the ones made to attract sharks. Turns out they're right in the area where the boat tour is going on, the one they would be safely aboard had they not tried to make a movie plot happen. So the two start swimming towards the boat where they just nearly make it, but then a shark grabs Kirsten and pulls her back into the water all funny-like. So then Kirkland can't handle that, she's gotta go diving back into the water and saves her sister with a shot of a flare gun to the shark's face. She grabs her bitten sister and they head back to the boat where, you guessed it, a shark then leaps up and grabs Kirkland and pulls her into the water as well. Like, too many times. Too many times, guys. So anyway, she grabs the shark tooth that her dad gave her in the beginning of the movie and she just starts stabbing it in the eye until it lets her go. Then she's pulled back up onto the boat where the mean girl from the beginning gives her a respectful look. And then the movie ends. I guess in the end, Kirkland is a pretty okay brand. So, both of these movies had some serious issues that I feel could have been kind of easy to get around or fix. They were both not long enough, so they had to do false endings and dragged-on endings in order to make them feature-length films, creating this okay enough feeling with the viewer. I think one of the dumbest things that could have been fixed with a change of setting was that this movie is not 47 meters down. Sequels have this really bad habit of stealing the title of the first movie, even though the title no longer applies to what we're watching anymore, and this one does just that. One of the obstacles of the first movies was that they were 47 meters down. That's a pretty far way down, and to get out of there, you'd have to make a slow ascent to the surface in order to avoid the bends. It's kind of hard to do when there's sharks everywhere. So they were very trapped. Also, being that far down added this element of darkness, so that when a light would go out, it felt very unnerving, not knowing what was coming at you in the open ocean. This movie tried to do the claustrophobic thing with the ruins, which I guess that's okay, but the shark was too big and derpy to get through most of the time, and it really never hurt them when they were down in those cramped spaces. Most of the deaths occurred when they were in that open pool. I think 2 people died in that open pool area. 1 person just suffocated to death, and the others were attacked in the open ocean. So the claustrophobia doesn't work when your antagonist is a big derpy shark. What was the point of this setting? Why weren't the ruins at least 47 meters down? That would have at least made the title make sense. And it would have also possibly explained the blind sharks. Hey writers, contact me. I've got nothing else going on right now. Well, at least we know my job here is done. There's no way they're going to make another random shark movie and attach the title 47 meters down to it. Oh. Put me in it. I don't even care if it's bad, I'll review my own bad movie. Put me in it. Thanks for joining me as I reviewed my first sequel film. If you want more, go ahead and watch my first 47 meters review where I review 47 meter sticks and then get eaten by a shark. Join me next time when Tiny Frank goes scuba diving, but the sharks just find him too adorable to eat. See you later.